Hey, what's up? It's Comic95, the Savior, and this will be a Ren's Japanese journal. So once again, for anybody that's new here, these are journals that are not highly edited, no music, no special fancy stuff going on, no fancy hair, makeup most of the time. Just coming to you, speaking to you as I am. This is a journal, meaning these are my feelings, my personal opinions, experiences, whatever about my life. I talk about random topics. It could be anything from the news to what's going on in my personal life. So this video in particular will be about my personal work life per se. If you don't understand what's going on, I highly suggest that you check out my playlist, Ren's Japanese Journal, It's Okay to Be Me, whatever it's called. Go ahead and check that out. There's tons of videos to watch there if you enjoy these. And if you watch them in order, everything will make sense. So, yeah, just explaining why I look crazy right now. So, I wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of an update. I told you guys about the last situation with my Saturday drop from the glue stick thing. But things somehow miraculously got better, but also worse. So, what happened was, the week after that glue stick situation, so to recap it, I was having problems with both of my assistant teachers. I have two different classes that I teach. I have a morning class on Saturdays where I have younger students that are between the ages of, I believe, 2 to 5. And then I have a class in the afternoon to evening with older students that are all age 7. They'll be turning 8 though. So, what shall I say? They're all 6-year-olds turning 7. So, for that class, the afternoon class, they're all returning students that have already been at the school, most of them for their entire lives at this international school. Whereas in the morning, there's a handful of students that are from outside of the school and just come there for Saturday school. So that class, most of the students don't really speak English very well at all and cannot even understand simple instructions. And they have a lot more behavioral issues because apparently they've been allowed to get away with stuff. So, mind you, I'm joining kind of at the beginning / end of the year, kind of at a weird time. It's the start of the school year in Japan because I started this job in April, but it appears as though they've at least had, I think, 1 or 2 classes without me. So, back on subject. My assistant teachers are both Japanese, but like at any other school, they speak English at a native fluent level. They can understand and comprehend English. They know English well enough to teach it. But of course, because they're not native speakers in Japan, they are not allowed to be the English teacher. So I'm really the head teacher, meaning that I am their boss. These 2 people work under me, but it doesn't always work that way. So the problem that I had with them from my last video was that my assistant teachers, I found that they were giving their 2 cents when not needed, withholding information from me, gossiping about me in Japanese behind my back, and sometimes even in front of my face because they think I don't understand. And on top of that, just not being helpful in class. Like, I have to tell them exactly what to do, and even when I do that, then they don't do it the way that I want them to, and they find other little loopholes and ways to cut and go around stuff, and it's like, I could never do that with them. If a Japanese teacher were to ask me to do something a certain way and I didn't do it that exact way, they would get really anal and, be pissed off and show it to me directly. But for some reason, it's okay for them to be like, oh, okay, I know you asked me to cut this way, but I think it's easier if I let the kids do it. So I'll do one for you, but I'm going to let the kids do the rest of it. And it's like, I'm not asking you what you think. I'm your boss. I'm telling you, do it this way. Simple. Your job is to assist me. You're getting paid over $1,000 just to freaking cut out the letter G. You can't do that. Come on. So, I'm sorry, my nose itches. But anyway, back on subject. So, to catch you up, what happened a few weeks ago which was the day before the last day I was there, my boss wasn't there for some reason. And nobody told me what's going on, but for some strange reason, my afternoon assistant, who I believe is Hispanic, she speaks Japanese and English with this weird accent that sounds Spanish-like to me. I don't know if she speaks Spanish or Portuguese, but she's definitely Hispanic. I don't believe she's half Japanese, but if she is, doesn't make a difference. She's still half whatever. So, yeah, we don't get along. And I ironically find out that specific day, she just so happens to be a Protestant Christian. Gee, go figure. She has no idea about my religion or anything else, but I swear I hate that so much. I find that religious people are the worst people to work with, whether they're Christian, Muslim, whatever. And, I hate to say that, but I'm just keeping it real. I find that you always get one extreme or the other. So specifically dealing with Christians, either I find that they're super, super nice to the point where they're not strong enough to be a teacher, like they don't know how to control a class, or you get people that are just as big of a jerk as any other secular, worldly, whatever you want to call it, person. And I'm not gonna touch on Islam. We're gonna leave that alone. All I'm gonna say is I have not had any good experiences working with people that are Muslim. But that's another story. I don't care for religious stuff. I don't care about hurting people's feelings. Religion is a choice. Religion is not a race. Get over yourself. You can choose to be a Muslim. You could choose to be a Christian. You could choose to be neither. Not apologizing for what I just said. So, back on subject. Where was I? So, yeah. I don't feel like getting into all of that. Just watch the previous video. You'll understand it. Basically, she got upset over me using school supplies that she decided that she didn't pay for, that she decided that she didn't want my students to use. Because the classroom that I'm in on Saturdays, it just so happens to be her classroom that she uses Monday through Friday. And so she didn't want me touching the art supplies that they have. But it's like, there's tons of art supplies. It doesn't matter. And it's only one day a week. 10 kids. Why does it make a difference? Why does it matter if we use the glue sticks for one project? Not to mention, it's not yours. You didn't pay for it. The school owns it. And you're not even the teacher. You're the assistant teacher Monday through Friday, too. So it's not your decision or your whatever how that goes. Not to give the benefit of the doubt, the Japanese assistant normally does have control over the art class because that's the school's way of giving them work to do. But then again, that depends on the school, too. So, for example, at my last international school job, my real international school job, I was over the art class. So, whatever. I let it go, but I was thinking, like, you can watch the video to understand when I'm with the glue stick situation. I let it go. Didn't think anything of it. But that day was a total mess because I made a bunch of mistakes with printing because some idiot had it set to double-sided printing and didn't put it back. Well, my stupid self, I was so used to just pressing print, I did all of my printing for the day and accidentally made everything double-sided. And if you're wondering why this is bad or why it matters, the school is cheap. They don't use loose leaf paper. For their spelling test, they needed the back to be, have nothing on it. And these kids don't follow instructions. So if you give them the full sheet, you have people that'll be doing the wrong side of it, that'll do both sides of it, and the goal in the class is to make it stretch for the whole 4 hours. It's a 4-hour Saturday class for the afternoon kids. They're there from 1:30 till 5:30. So you need to be able to keep them busy for the duration of that time. If you give them all of their worksheets at once, you're going to have kids asking questions, going ahead, etc. Like, it's just too much going on. So to make things easy, everybody needs to be doing the same work at the same time. They don't need to be looking ahead, doing whatever. And this is just the way that I like to do it too. But, my boss did it that way too when I was watching her train me or whatever. So I'm not the only one. So had a lot of issues with that. Sure enough, the week after, I was honestly just too tired. There was too much going on. I called off work. And I know that didn't make them very happy. But apparently during the time that I was gone, it turns out that both of my assistant teachers, I believe, went to my boss and basically told her everything that was going on with me teaching. So it looks like they complained to her about me not being organized and me not being ready, during class time and spending too much time organizing during the class and not actually teaching. Because when I came back this past Saturday, my boss didn't say anything to me at first, but I asked her for help conveniently after she had already asked if I needed help 30 minutes prior, but I didn't at the time. The printer just wasn't working, and then I had questions about the curriculum because I called myself coming in this day and I wanted to satisfy everybody. So I was like, you know what? I'm not getting paid to do all of this, but I just don't want to have any issues with my assistant. So if it means kissing your butt and doing things your way, so be it. I just want to keep the peace. So I decided that I was going to listen to my morning assistant. I was going to listen to her advice, which we decided to call her Katsumi, is what we called her. I decided to listen to her advice. And what I did was, I told myself, okay, I am going to find some flashcards, incorporate a phonics song, do everything she's saying, so this way she can't complain, can't feel upset, because she did not like the fact that I wasn't teaching all of the phonics at once. And I was like, this is not how you learn English. Even in a normal school, you focus on one letter at a time, no more than maybe 3 or 4. It's overwhelming, especially for someone speaking English as their second language. That's too much for them. And I'm not getting paid to do that anyway. They're only here for basically a couple hours. Hell no. So the school already has a set curriculum. So Katsumi is the morning assistant. I forgot what I called her. Did I call her Yuki, Miki? We're just gonna call her Miki again. Sorry. If I called her a different name before. Miki is the Hispanic chick who I don't believe is Japanese. She might be half. I have no idea. But she just looks Hispanic to me. She's as brown as I am, if not darker. She has complete Hispanic features. And for anybody that's gonna say, no, I'm not just basing off her skin complexion. I know how Japanese people look that have darker skin. But realistically, dark skin in Japan is not a common thing. And for those that do have so-called dark skin, it's normally because they've tanned and not because they're naturally dark. Like, even for people that are, like, tan year-round, if you've been tanning a lot consistently, religiously, always being out in the sun, not protecting yourself, your skin can naturally become darker, which is why a lot of older people have darker skin, too. But that's another story. Anyway, I know the difference. I'm 99% sure she's not Japanese. So, but she acts as the Japanese assistant because she's not a native English speaker, and thus she's used as the Japanese assistant because she speaks Japanese at a native fluent level. She speaks Japanese way better than I do. So, yeah. Anyway, I wanted to make Yuki happy, so I went and asked my boss. I was like, oh, like, you know, do you all have sight words, flashcards for the alphabet? And she got really anal and upset with me. She was like, oh, we have them in the classroom, they're wherever. There are not no damn flashcards at your classroom, woman. I've been here for months. But okay, then when I talked about sight words, she was like, oh, well, they don't even know their letters yet, so yeah, you don't have to worry about that. And I'm like, okay, I'm just asking, because the curriculum says it on the wall. They need to be doing this for this month. I'm only trying to do my job. You're telling me to forego the curriculum, not to follow it. Now, I would love for my assistant to hear this, because I'm literally just doing what you're telling me to do at this point. It's no longer me cutting corners. It's no longer me saying, well, they didn't provide it for me, so I'm not going to do it. It came out of my own boss's mouth. She literally just said these kids are stupid. She said it directly. She was like, you know, the kids you have aren't very smart. Those were her words. She shouldn't have been saying that to me. But I ain't finna complain about it. It's whatever. So I agree. I just wouldn't say that personally as the boss because I don't trust my coworkers. I wouldn't trust my employees like that because I could honestly go back and tell the parents what she said. But that's not my goal. I like my job. I just don't like my assistant teachers. So anyway, what happened? So yeah, let that go. Sure enough, she comes back and shows me where it is because she was like, oh, I have to go to my class. I don't have time for this right now. It's in the room. And so I let it go. So, okay, you don't care. I don't care even more. Because I'm going to get paid whether these kids learn something or nothing. I get paid at the end of the month. So, your choice. She comes back in, shows me, and sure enough, there were no flashcards. She shows me a set of some posters that's supposed to go up on the wall that apparently the teacher took down, got the sticky tack on it and all. And I'm thinking to myself, like, this is what I hate about people in Japan. This is a white woman, my boss, a white American woman. If you don't know something, fucking say it. I hear the people act like they know shit that they don't know. And they get mad about it. Can't even apologize for being wrong. Just play along with it. Bitch, there were no damn flashcards. You don't have shit together for this class. You have a curriculum with no materials to go with it. How? How the fuck did you do that? Not to mention, this is not a new school. It's been around for years. To my knowledge, I think the school's been around longer than I've been alive. I'm not even exaggerating. The Saturday class is not new. How the fuck do you not have set art supplies, set craft supplies, set teaching materials, set worksheets put aside already? The only semi-good thing that they will say, I take back the worksheets part, they do have a pretty good catalog or whatever you want to call it. They have a whole drive file on their computer, several of them, with areas to get worksheets from. But it's still not organized where it's like, okay, you're using this for this week, etc. It's more like, here goes random workbooks that we save to the computer. Use whatever you want to, print as needed. But it's like the amount of money you're wasting printing papers each week, you'd be better off just having the kids pay for their own workbook. This is a waste of resources for the school. But hey, it's not my business. It makes it easier for me as a teacher because I have the freedom to choose whatever I want to use. So maybe that's what they call themselves doing. But from a business perspective, it's wasteful and useless. And sometimes it does hurt you as a teacher because if you don't have time to properly prepare, because I only get 1 hour before my day starts to actually prepare, and then I get 30 minutes before my last class. But it's like the 30 minutes isn't enough time to do anything. You're literally just moving your stuff over to the next class and putting together the homework for that time. You can't really plan a lesson in 30 minutes. So, it's just so messy. So anyway, long story short, just an update you guys on what happened, make this shorter. I'm going to skip ahead because this video is going to become like 3 hours if I try to tell all the details. I came into the classroom, used stuff that they had, and I made my own sight words and flashcards that I did not get to, but I did use some of my little sight words, and I did some of my phonics stuff with them, and I read a book, and I ran out of time to do the rest of what I had planned, which was perfect, because I wanted it to be where I have too much work for the time given, and that the time is going by fast, instead of it being slow, where it's like, oh my god, I don't know what to do, they have so much time left, I guess I should let them play. I didn't like it being that way. So I was like, you know what? My sister might be bitchy, but this is actually working for me. I'm doing more work than I have to do. My boss told me I didn't need to do this, but I'm doing it anyway because it makes my day go by faster. I'm teaching them more so I feel better as an educator, because my goal is not just like, oh, I'm going to get paid to do this. But I want to feel good about my job. I want to feel good knowing that I'm really teaching these kids something. So it made me feel good when I put together my own teaching material. So anyway, yeah, that class ended. Everything was fine. But this is the part that got me. During my class time, or right at the start of it, like right before it started, I asked my assistant teacher where the glue was. I am 99.9% sure that my assistant teacher dug inside of my file, because I had my own glue stick put aside. I believe she took my glue and switched it with another one, because my glue stick had like no glue on it, and I'm pretty sure I did not put an empty glue stick inside of my folder. I keep my own pencil, my own glue stick, because I have OCD. I don't like using dirty snot-nosed stuff, especially with this coronavirus crap going on. So I let it go, but then I was like, I need a glue stick so I could put together their craft for the day. I was making them have, they were going to color their own umbrella. So I was cutting stuff out and I needed to glue it to the paper. Well, when I asked my assistant in the morning, she went to go look for it, and she was getting the glue as soon as the assistant chick was coming in, which was Yuki. So Yuki was talking to her in Japanese and was explaining to her that, you know, the glue sticks that I have to use are just these for the after school. They call it after school for the Saturday kids, for the, you know, Saturday school class. And that, you know, they have other glue, whatever, for the kindergarten students, that this is the glue I need to use, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm just thinking, like, why the hell does this bitch care so damn much? It's just fucking glue. You didn't pay for it. It's not fancy glue like where, you know, the students get to buy their own stuff, or where she bought her own supplies. I would totally understand that. But in this case, it is school-bought material that we all use. Same glue stick. It doesn't matter whether I use the ones here or from the office. Obviously, it makes more sense to use what's already being used. Why be wasteful and grab your own separate stash of materials, glue sticks, whatever? That doesn't make any sense. We should be trying to conserve resources. Not to mention, you ain't paid for it. This ain't even your fucking classroom, bitch. So, whatever. I was gonna let it go. I thought to walk out right then, but I was like, be mature. This is a trap, Ren. Don't fall for it. So instead, I shocked them because she thought that I couldn't understand. And so I said, oh, so where do you get the glue sticks from then? Where exactly do you get them from? And she was like a deer in headlights. And then she was like, oh, like you get them from, you know, the boss's desk or whatever, under her desk. I was like, oh, okay, because I went in the office and I couldn't find them. Thanks for telling me exactly where to get them from. And so this is after she was being phony at me and greeting me this morning. So back on subject. My class ends with the morning kids, you know, the younger, early learners, whatever. And then when I go to take my lunch break, my boss has the audacity, I tweeted about this, she suggested that I not take a full lunch break and that I use some of that time to do prep work, because she heard that the week before, which is 2 weeks ago because I wasn't there last week, I didn't have enough time to prep. And so she went on talking to me for a good 3 minutes or so, and I'm thinking to myself, like, you have no idea how angry I am. First of all, I'm mad at you at going off on me for me just trying to do my job. You got mad at me for asking you about what materials, you know, I should be using, and if you had something put aside. Instead of admitting that you weren't organized, didn't know, didn't have nothing, you got mad at me for trying to do what the fuck you're paying me to do, bitch. Then you got the audacity to fucking ask me or suggest to me, oh, you can just take, you know, maybe just a 30-minute break. You don't have to take the whole hour, or maybe just a few minutes here and a few minutes there. You can break it up. You don't have to eat your whole, you know, hour or whatever. Bitch, this hour is keeping me sane. This is why I'm still working here and haven't quit yet. Are you going to pay me for this time that I'm taking out to do prep work? No, you're not. My lunch break is unpaid because I'm a part-time worker for starts. And secondly, my prep time is reduced pay too. So I'm already not getting paid. I'm already not getting paid a full salary for prep work. I'm not getting paid at all for my lunchtime. Why the hell would I work for free when I can get paid for it? I'm not freaking out over it. If you don't care to, put aside more time for me to do prep work and shorten the learning time for the kids, then I'm not going to care anymore. That peer pressure shit don't work with me. I'm not Japanese. You care about your school so much, you care about the students' learning and their education so much, then you can set aside for their teacher to actually properly plan. I don't get to take home their books and curriculum. So I literally only have my time there during the time that I'm at, work to prepare, which is a total of 1 hour and 30 minutes. And you might as well say it's more like 55 plus a good 25 minutes or so, because you're expected to be in the classroom and ready to teach by then. Not to mention, I'm expected for the afternoon class, during those, first few minutes, I'm supposed to grade all of their books right away too. How am I supposed to do all of this? It's not possible. So you cannot check homework from 2 different places by yourself, prepare everything, put together, a Raz Kids book, type of stuff, all alone, no help, no assistance, print everything, and come up with a lesson off the top of your head in 25 minutes. Nobody can do that, not properly. So if you don't care, I don't care even more, because this ain't my damn school. My reputation don't mean nothing to me here. This ain't a full-time job for me. The pay is nice. I have no complaints. They're paying me good per hour, but it doesn't change the fact that I'm not getting paid hardly anything for my prep work time, and I don't get a lot of it. I get 1 break for the entirety of my day. I'm there from morning until evening. I have to leave my house at 7. I arrive back home at 7. I need my hour break. Oftentimes that hour is basically my breakfast, lunch, and dinner, my single meal. Hell no. You care about the kids? Give me more time then and take away their learning time, because they really don't need 4 hours to do their work. They have it where we break up the day, where they do like 1 worksheet at a time, get 30 minutes of playtime, 3 worksheets here, playtime again, 15 minutes. Like, that's not even necessary. And the excuse is their attention span. But it's like, in a normal school setting, especially in Japan, that's not the way school works. You learn nonstop, and you get a break for the entirety of the day for anywhere from about 20 to 40 minutes. That's it. You don't get breaks when you feel tired. And if anything, you're encouraging the kids to act tired and to lose focus, because they've been taught, if we're not willing to focus, we get to play. So that's backwards teaching. And these kids have already been in the school. They graduated. Most of them have been there since they were 2-3 years old. I'm not even going to bother to get into that. So anyway, I had to just mute myself and be like, okay. And just let her talk. So I was pissed off, and I just tweeted about it, and I went ahead and I ate my lunch, and I used up almost all my time. I did stop 10 minutes early to prepare. So I got everything together. I was ready on time this time. I didn't have a lot of prep work to do during the class, and so I was a lot more organized. I didn't do a craft again this week because I didn't have enough time. So this time my assistant conveniently was in there most of the time, but now I was pissed off because my boss basically told me that, a little bird told her that I wasn't prepared and I had trouble with printing stuff, etc. So I'm thinking like, oh, is that what you were told, huh? Now here I am. I kept to myself the fact that my assistant, Yuki, wasn't in my classroom for the entirety of those 4 hours. She came in like the last hour, and nobody communicated with me about what's going on. Nobody told me I didn't have an assistant. Nothing. It made me so upset. And then this is off subject, but I want to mention this too. Somebody actually left a comment about this on my channel. I'm not gonna, no shade to you. I'm just saying in general. Don't get offended. It was just ironic because it just happened the same day. The assistant manager, she was talking to me and one other person that doesn't really talk to me, and was asking us if we plan to get our coronavirus shots, if we plan to get, our vaccinations or whatever. And so she was saying how, we're up next for August. And so here goes my thing. I'm not trying to get into all those conspiracy theories and whatnot, but this is how I see it. In my opinion, that's a personal question to ask, and to put people on the spot and make them have to answer in front of everybody else, to me, I feel like isn't appropriate, isn't right. I know people are going to get mad at me over this, but I'm just being real. I honestly have mixed feelings about the vaccine for a lot of different reasons. And I don't know my thoughts or feelings on it. I don't know whether I plan to actually get it or not. I do believe that it should be made available and people should have the choice to get it if they do want it. And for countries like Japan trying to hold the Olympics, that should have already been done a long time ago, and they're really late getting to the game. So I'm not changing my stance on that. However, on a personal level, I don't feel like it's appropriate to ask people in front of other people what their thoughts are on it, because you're kind of, it's almost like socially bullying people into getting something done that they don't want to. For example, I'll be the first to tell you that I'm completely against birth control. I'm completely against getting unnecessary vaccines for things like STDs, etc. What is it, HPV or whatever? Some stuff you can get. I get the purpose and reason in it, but to me, those are unnecessary vaccinations. Like, I don't see it as being necessary, and I don't believe that just because something is available or it allegedly works, you need to get it. For example, I don't get flu shots, so I'm not a full-on anti-vaxxer per se. There are some vaccines I believe are necessary, good, and that have helped us progress in this world, but there are other ones where I'm like, to each his or her own. In my opinion, it's not necessary, so I don't get it. So in order to even come to Japan, I have to get certain vaccinations in order to, be let into the country as a student. So that's that. I'm not going to get into that with you, but I just thought that was interesting too, that happened during my lunch as well. It's like, come on, can you all give me a break? So back on subject. During the class time, everything was mostly fine. Of course, as usual, she wasn't really being helpful, but one part pissed me off. So when we get ready for their lunchtime, I decided, not their lunchtime, their snack time, so in the afternoon class, I saw that there were towels there, but the towel had been sitting there all day, and I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and spray some alcohol down a paper towel to clean the table. As soon as I get started to clean it, Yuki comes in, she's like, no, like, we have a towel, we use this towel to do this, whatever. And so I'm like, it's okay, I already got started. And so I could tell she was pissed off. She kind of like smacked me, like, and so I'm like, bitch, like, why the fuck do you care? It's alcohol. It cleans just as well. And so I know that they had like a little special solution or whatever on their towel designated for cleaning the tables. But I'm thinking to myself, like, it ain't that damn serious. All they've been doing is using a freaking pencil and paper on the table. Doesn't matter. These kids aren't even wearing masks. So, back on subject. She brings it up again like about 5 minutes later after the kids are like sitting there eating, and she's like, yeah, like, we have this towel, to clean the table, whatever, like, and this is while I'm doing my prep work, preparing to get ready to, have the kids read in small groups with the teacher being me. And so she's like, please ask the boss. And I'm like, that's all you had to say, bitch. Yeah, please ask the boss. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I ain't finna ask her about the cleaning the table part. I'm going to tell this everything. Because you getting on my last motherfucking nerves. And so she saw that she irritated me, because after that I was like, okay. And so she kind of like gave me that same little, like, I can't explain it. She knew that she pinched a nerve with me, and it made her like happy in like an angry villain type way. And so she had like that little like evil smirk and like laughed it off, and then didn't say anything else to me for the duration of that class. I was like, good, don't talk to me anymore. So then once again, she takes initiative when I don't need her to. She helps the kids go ahead and do the last part of their worksheet. So they were doing a worksheet, and so they had like part A, B, C. I didn't want them to do part C because I didn't even look at, how the answers go with that, etc. And we didn't have enough time. And so I made up an excuse on the spot. It was going to be for homework. But I'm like, don't jump ahead of me. I'm the teacher. If I'm not having them do that, because I'm doing the worksheet with them together. I'm clearly not on part C yet. So why are you helping your group of 5 kids do part C? Come on. Then on top of that, if that's not enough, having them do part C or whatever during class time when I didn't ask her to do that, before we even get started with the reading part, she tells the kids to clean up because she feel like they have been playing for too long. And I'm thinking, like, I get it, they've been playing for a while, but actually the reason why I'm having them do this is I want them to do their worksheets and reading together with me in small groups so I can see how much they really know and understand, instead of us doing it all together as a class where they're just going to write and copy off of each other. And so I'm thinking, like, did it ever cross your mind that maybe you should ask me if I'm ready for them to clean up? You don't just say, okay, it's time to clean up. Bitch, who the fuck are you? So, and then she was like, oh, like, they can still play? It's like, yeah, they can still play. I'm not ready yet. So, end of the day comes. As soon as I get the chance, I tell my boss I want to talk to her in private. And Yuki apparently heard and saw us talking to her in private. I told my boss everything, and I was afraid of getting fired or her getting upset. My boss said it herself, so I was right. She said I have the 2 most strong-willed Japanese assistants in the school. And she apologized for yelling at me earlier and blamed herself for not properly training me and showing me everything is. She took full responsibility of that. She took full responsibility of, the situation with my assistant teachers, and was explaining that she agrees with me about the way of teaching phonics, how, it's overwhelming to do it all at once, and that the curriculum's there for a reason, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, this is all I wanted. This is what I needed. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So that literally like just made my day alone. So when I walked out, it was time to go. It was literally like 2 minutes left on the clock. It was almost 6 o'clock because I get off at 6. Takes me an hour to get home. A little more than an hour to get home. Yuki was pissed. She didn't do her normal "Skata sama desu." Nope, not today. This time, she walked straight out without talking to me. She said bye to everybody else. And just for my luck, we ended up taking the same train home together. We got on the same train. So I transferred at that station, so she might have taken another train. I don't know whether she goes on the same train or she takes the train the opposite direction or what. Because after we take the first train, we have to transfer at the second train. So she got off at the second train stop with me, with another coworker, the same chick that was asked about the vaccine. So, which by the way, I want to answer that now. I haven't fully decided what I plan to do about that. This video is not about the vaccine. So for any of you hoes in the comments going to be like, oh, well, you should do this, or I got mine, I got whatever. Good for you, sweetheart. Like I said, I think for myself, and I don't know what my thoughts are on it yet, but it doesn't matter because it's not available for me yet anyway. Teachers are up to take their vaccination in August, in case you're curious. I don't have a chance to do it until August. I still have like 2 months to decide. So, and I don't cave into peer pressure. I think for myself. I do things for myself. I've worked in a pharmacy before. My mother is a registered nurse. I know about vaccinations. I know about medicine. I know about these things. And just to put this out there again, while the vaccine might be allegedly doing some good, it hasn't been around long enough for anybody to truly know whether it's safe or not. They've been pushing it on you to believe that it is because people are desperate to get back to normal. A normal vaccine would not be made readily available this fast. So, conspiracy theories aside, someone not wanting to take it, there's valid reasons not to. I wear my mask, I do what I'm supposed to do, I wash my hands, hand sanitizer, whatever, but it's whatever. So, back on subject. Yeah, I want to see how this plays out next week because my boss said she's going to talk to them. And I told her, look, I'm just trying to keep the peace. I'm not somebody that has to do things my way, but I am the teacher, and I feel like you should be respecting my authority, my opinions, the way I want to do things as your boss, basically. That's all I'm asking for. And in this case, I don't like the little passiveness that, you trying to talk crap at me in Japanese behind my back when I know damn well you speak English better than you speak Japanese, for starts. And secondly, even if you didn't, it's disrespectful. You're at an English-speaking school. All of the staff, including the Japanese teachers, speak in English. It's rare circumstance for people to use Japanese. And she only uses it when it's meant to exclude me from conversation. And here this chick is supposed to be a Christian. And she's older than me. Both of these chicks are probably older than my mama. I think both of them are in their 40s. If not, they aged hard as fuck. So, I'm done. That's that. Just wanted to update you on what's happening. I want to see where this goes because this is getting very, very interesting. So in a nutshell, I just wanted to share that I was ultimately right. My boss basically agreed with me that my assistants are very controlling, very dominant, especially for Japanese assistants. So it's not just all in my mind. It's not just me being a bitch and controlling myself, which I have the right to be. I'm the boss. I'm supposed to be that person. And so I told her, I was like, I don't even have it in me to be like that. I don't like boss people around telling them what to do. I like people that take initiative and do their job. And if I ask you to do something, you should do it the way I asked you to do it. So it's whatever. I'll see where this goes. I'm hoping that things get better the following week. So yeah, that's that. That's it for this journey. Just want to update you on what's going on with me on my Saturday job. Please pray for me. I hope things go well. I want to keep this job. It's easy work, easy money, and I feel so much better now that I have more organization to my 2 classes, especially the morning class. But even with the afternoon one, I literally had to come up with a way to teach the difference between this, that, there, those. I've never taught this before, and I never thought about it before either. I literally came up with something on a whim, like right before the class started and during it. And it worked perfectly to teach them how to use, this, that, there, those. No, this, that, these, those. So, and mind you, this is their second language, so this is difficult grammar for 6-year-olds, basically. But they're really smart kids. They're bad, but they're smart. So, I'm done. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please keep me in your prayers at the Saturday job. I'm hoping that things continue to go well. I'm hoping that, by my boss talking to them, and she was talking about getting me my own baskets, I can have my own art supplies, whatever. Like, she was super understanding, thanked me for coming to her. She even gave me her personal email address and told me, that if I need to talk to her, whatever, to send her an email personally. She totally understood, so that made me super, super happy. And I'm 90% sure it's because she wasn't American, because if she was Japanese, she probably would have brushed it off and been like, bitch, like, why are you coming to me with this shit? Because I told you on the past, I got fired. I got fired before from a full-time job. One of my first full-time jobs. Just because I told them that the students that I had, the work was too difficult for them. They need to be placed in a lower class. That was enough to get me fired. And I said it nicely, privately. I didn't say it in front of anybody. I didn't say it in front of the student, not in front of the parent, coworkers, nothing. Private conversation. I explained that, and that it was difficult to keep the kids on track when they had different homework books. You can't have a class of kids supposed to be learning the same stuff, but then some of them have a different book for homework. Like, what? Your homework shouldn't be based off of what, you're struggling with per se. It's not an individual one-on-one class. It should be reinforcing what we learned in class. For example, we were teaching the kids vocabulary words, grammar, and sentence structures, and then their homework book was a phonics book. If we're not even doing this shit in class, how the fuck do these kids know the answers? So, I'm done. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, leave a comment down below. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And as always, I'd appreciate if you watch another video. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Comic95. You can add me on Snapchat at Comic the Savior, like my Facebook page at Comic95 the Savior, and check out my blog at Comic95.com. If you enjoyed these journals, I have an entire playlist on journals about my work life in Japan. If you didn't watch the previous video, I suggest that you watch that one about my job with the glue situation, so that all of this makes sense. So thank you so much for watching. Sorry for making a 2-hour video out of this, basically. And I will see you later. Bye.